This guy that I've been training, he's just getting on like a big strength protocol right now. He's not worried about weight fluctuations or whatever, but he has been tracking. And he brought up this question to me, and I gave him an answer. I stand by it, but I figured I'd pitch it to you just in case there was anything that I was missing. He has this chart, and if you need, I'll probably do a screen cap of it later. Basically, from October on, his weight and his body fat percentage has been pretty consistent. Let me do the conversion real quick. He's about 158, 159. Okay. And he's hanging around 22 to 24% body fat percentage, right?
Is he just taking it with like a handheld?
Yeah, the handheld one. So no calipers, no body submersion, definitely no DEXA scan. But he noticed that from September 1st and right until like the very end of September, there was a big jump between those two. At that time, 17.8% body fat before it jumped up to that 24% body fat. And what I told him was it could be a number of things. It could very well be that very first reading was inaccurate. I also mentioned that, we always want to take in consideration stress, your diet. He didn't change his diet in any real significant way, but he did fly back from Japan back to the US and very simple dietary changes. Maybe it's not the portion in itself, but seasoning, maybe saltier foods, the way you just change your lunch setup, being aware of sleep, stress, those type of things. But he wasn't stressed about this. He wasn't, getting pissed off at anything. He was just curious if I had any other insight on this jump in percentage.
Well, yeah, I would have first gone straight to what you first said is like, could have just been an inaccurate reading from the get-go. The second thing is you point out like, well, do you look any different? Do you, do you feel like you gained, 5% body fat? Is it obvious? That'd be a pretty obvious jump in honest percentages, but it could, I absolutely could be any of those things you mentioned. But I would probably lean to the side of a misreading on the very first. And that's why those tests are, the reading all depends on the time of day, on how much you've had to drink, eat, all of this stuff. It makes a difference in what that thing will read. Because if there's any inconsistencies that way, then the number that is provided will be inconsistent as well.
Yeah, and that's something that I didn't even think about right there. I usually tell people when they're weighing themselves, always do it first thing in the morning after they take a piss or whatever, right? Yeah. And that should go double for the body fat percentage reading. It'd be funny if he just binged on a big meal, had a couple beers, and it's like
he looks down and he's like, man, I wonder if I gained some weight while I was gone. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so fat. And that's oh man, those things like, I think I've had mine jump up 5-6% in the course of a day. And it's it's like the average Joe that would be like, oh crap, something's gone really wrong. I just lost 5 months of progress over the course of a meal. And it's that's just the information that the paddles are given, and it's nothing to worry about. It's a moot point. It's not worth your time to worry, because as long as you're doing all your stuff right, like you said, the diet, the exercise, your sleep, managing stress, you're doing all that stuff right, you're cool. Don't worry. and you already said it. You said he wasn't worried about it, so
yeah, that's the biggest thing.
I think that's the biggest takeaway from what you told me right there is cool, he's not worried. Okay, good. He doesn't need to be worried about it as long as everything comes back to whatever normal is for him, or maybe he gets the right reading now. Maybe the 22 has it stayed consistent on that?
Yeah. It's very much around that 22, 23 range
all the time now. And is he, and again, I would just make sure he's, for his sake, if he cares about that body fat test, and just make sure it's consistently same time of day and all that good stuff. So you get equal readings. So, you're comparing an apple and apple, and not a post weekend where you went out and had drinks with friends and
not the Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. People who have those big meals and then they go weigh themselves and they're like, oh no, it's just all pointless. I'll never be able to maintain. It's like, no. It's just, you overdid it for one day. It's not a big deal. Like, chill out, get back to your consistent ways and rock and roll. It's consistency, man. The more and more you see it, the more and more you believe it. So just be consistent, man. Like, yeah, consistency in everything you do.
True dat.
Yeah, true that.